Did this computer. Here we go. Okay.
All right, so we've started the recording, and I'll welcome and call the meeting to order for the Yolo County Fire Safe Council meeting for Wednesday, September 25th. I'm Jonathan Flora, the chair, and our first action is to approve the agenda for the meeting. What is on the screen or was put in your email a week ago or yesterday.
This is Kate Laddish. I'll move to approve.
All right.
KB Valley, second.
We have a motion and a second. Hearing no one who has anything to add to the agenda. I did forget to ask that, so I'll wait another moment. All right. I suppose at that point I'll call the question. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. All right. Item 2 completed. Action item. Hopefully everyone reviewed the prior meeting minutes in the email that was sent from RCD last week. And I'm looking for a motion or any discussion if we need to make any corrections.
I move to approve the minutes as provided. It's Don Palm.
Yep, Don. Okay, got a motion and a second. Nobody out there voicing any concerns about the prior meeting minutes? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. All right.
Excuse me.
And who did the second? I missed that.
I think it was me.
Oh, Robert. Okay.
Yep. I already forgot. All right, we're on to member announcements. No, in addition to reports.
Does anybody have any announcements?
Hey, Tanya,
Yes.
I just got in saying announcements, like a plant sale announcement, maybe.
There could be a plant sale announcement.
So yes, a lot of RCD is holding a fall plant sale at Green Valley. I know it's not totally fire related, although there'll be some fire or fire tolerant plants being available there. So that's November 9th at Green River Brewing.
Excellent. Thank you. It looks like Kate.
Yeah. All right. So mine's a little more tangential than Chris's, but because it brings two of my interests together, I can't help but announce that Yolo County's inaugural voter education workshop will be on Wednesday, October 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Blanchard Room at the Davis Branch Library. And it's designed for voters with and without disabilities, as well as future voters who are not yet 18. And we'll go over, all the ways you can get, mark, and return a ballot, and we'll have a petting zoo of accessible voting equipment so you can take it for a spin. And because you can make your voice known on so many issues, including things related to fire, I just wanted to let people know that this is happening. And you can, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I should say who's putting that on. It's Yolo County Elections and the Yolo County Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee. All right, now I'm done.
Okay. And I need to acknowledge, I have a less happy announcement to acknowledge the death on Monday in the light of duty of Tim Hall of the West Sacramento Fire Department. He was an engineer. He was also a volunteer firefighter for the Clarksburg Fire Department and was a Clarksburg Fire Lieutenant. And he'd been with them since 1983. So he entered fire service right out of high school and he passed on Monday. So just want to acknowledge that and thank him for his service. Jesse, do you have your hand up?
Yes. KP Valley Fire is going to be doing our what's it called? National Fire Prevention Week event here at Station 22 on October 12th. If any of you are up in this neck of the woods, it's going on from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And hopefully our buddies from CAL FIRE and Yochadihi will be out as they have been in the past. The Sierra volunteers are going to be staffing a booth with a bunch of good information about defensible space, demonstrations on go bags. We usually do some like live fire extinguisher training, which is really fun for the kids, and free hot dogs. So if you are up at the KP Valley on the 12th and you want to learn about a bunch of good fire related stuff, my favorite part is when CAL FIRE brings the bulldozer, because they'll actually let you climb up on it sometimes. That's all I got.
And this is Moira.
you.
I'd like to add to that Nero will be present, and so will Ron Turner, and some of the people from his office, I believe, are coming. And our Angel Barajas people will be there too.
Excellent. That is
Oh.
much better news.
Yeah. Oh, Mara, I was going to ask, did you receive our small donation?
Yes, we did. Thank you, Ron, so
All right.
much.
Thank you. All right.
Hey, this is Sean Kinney, OTD Fire. If I could throw in a related to KP thing, we're having our open house October 5th, and we do everything from we got a trailer for kids to figure out how to get out, kitchen safety. We're doing extinguishers. We're doing the hot dogs. Yeah, we're doing everything. We're copying KP. But we'd love to see you. It's very, very kid friendly. Have not thought of the dozers. I'm a little jealous of that. But love to see you and your family show up. It's a good time. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief Kinney. I think that's a record number of announcements.
Some good things. So,
Mhm.
all right. So we're on to item number 5, and I'm going to turn that over to Tanya to explain because it's a little vague in the agenda. Complex.
Yes, but hopefully not too complex. Okay. So here is the coordinator report, which you guys were sent last week. We'll talk about the format of the coordinator report later if you want to, but the agenda item. So if you recall, last month we had a very good, productive, lengthy discussion about the evacuation tags and approved $4,000 for the printing of those tags, which is in process. Very cool. We didn't specify which project we were going to remove the $4,000 from. So that's sort of wrapped into this action item, because we're also, we have the Rumsey Ditch Fuels Project, which we are working, we've got 3 bid submissions for. And we had in this budget, which was just a reminder that it was sort of a rough estimate on how much things would cost. We had $50,000 budgeted for the Rumsey Ditch, and it looks like it's going to be more than that. But we haven't picked the contractor yet. So this may be jumping the gun, but just to give you a heads up, we will need very likely more money in that project. And then rolling back down to the Winters, to remind you, so the Winters Creekside fuel reduction had been identified in the CWPP, but it's not really in the wildland area. It is a high fire severity zone in the local responsibility area, it's not in CAL FIRE's responsibility area. And I had met with Chief Snyder and Captain Marquez, and they're like, well, we're not that worried about that spot as much as we are the West Winters area. So this has been kind of sitting there. And that's why we had budgeted $85,000 for that work. So I would suggest I was going to suggest moving most of that money to the Rumsey ditch and evacuation tags. But then yesterday afternoon, a conversation came up with Solano RCD. There's a piece of property near the bottom of Lake Solano that we did a bunch of arundo control on, and now there's dead standing arundo. And that would be, if the landowner is willing, which is still in the air, the landowner may be interested in a prescribed burn for fuels reduction. So then I would suggest leaving some money in there. And if I know this is super confusing and complicated, so I'm prepared to answer any questions. Unless that all made perfect sense.
No. Sorry.
Fair enough.
85,000 from the winners area deal going to Rumsey and the evacuation tags. But what was the funding and funding source for
but to leave some funding in that line item to do a possible prescribed burn out of town. It would be in the local responsibility area, but it would be a fuels reduction project.
Tanya, this is Neil, Golden Bear Fire Safe Committee. Is there one of the projects that was approved a number of years ago by the Board of Supervisors to clear the roadways so that safe evacuation out of the West Winters Fire Safe Council area can occur? And that hasn't been done yet. I don't know whether it's because the money has run out from fuel reduction programs, but I would really prefer if before you transfer to the funds to the Cape Valley area, to make sure that all of the needs in the West Winters area are being met. And this is one that I know has not been done yet and was put as a very high priority.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm actually, Chief Watson and I are going to be scouting that area next week because we did get some additional funding from CAL FIRE to implement some projects. And when we were writing that implementation grant, I had asked Chief Watson about what projects is a priority. So we had put the Golden Bear roadways in there.
It's also an issue on Positas and other, certainly. And, in some places, the foliage completely, you're going through a tunnel of foliage. So, that's as being the only exit route, it does worry.
Okay. Well, the other thing, that is a great point, Neil. The other thing also, if you can still see the screen, is the West Winters State Highway fuels reduction. We had a big chunk of money in there, but the Delta Camp crew is doing that work and not a super expensive contractor. So that is a chunk of money for roadsides in the West Winters area.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that these projects haven't been forgotten. And
okay, thank you.
Reallocated.
So yeah, considering that we have not spent that much money on the 128 fuels work, would you be comfortable moving some funds out of that Creekside project? Question mark.
This is Kate, and I'm here officially with IHSS, but I'm also chair of City of Winters Natural Resources Commission. So I'll sort of informally put that hat on. And Tanya, I really appreciate the discussions that you had with that commission about this. And so it sounds like if my understanding is correct, that the Winters area Creekside fuel reduction, since that's in a local responsibility area now, rather than the state responsibility area, this funding would be less appropriate for dealing with what's actually right in town. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And
Yes,
so,
and Chief Snyder concurred with that. So
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think, especially given that, I mean, as much as Natural Resources Commission is very interested in making sure that fire's not a big presence in the creek there, and then coming into town, I think it makes sense to move some of that money into an area that's actually, the state responsibility area that it's designed for. How much did you want to leave in there for the possible prescribed?
that's the thing, is this is all new information and I don't have a dollar amount. So, and we could actually table this until we have our Rumsey fire buffer contractor, or I'm sorry, Rumsey ditch contractor secured. It's kind of up to you guys, but definitely moving money around is a group discussion.
Is there a way that we could get like a ballpark reassessment of what the West Winters 128 deal is going to cost now that Delta Camp's on there, just so that the Golden Bear folks would have an idea of what sort of funding is there to address the ingress and egress issues they're talking about?
Yeah, just this is a total ballpark figure, but so there's been staff time for planning, lots of planning and coordination. And then sometimes we run the chipper, so that's staff time to do that. And we have to have a biological monitor on site for our permit. All that plus the Delta crew is $200 a day per crew. I'm going to say there'd be at least 100,000 left, at least as things are going now. But that project also has a lot of complications due to Caltrans. So we don't really know, they may only let us work on 1 mile, in which case there would be even more money left.
Tanya, would any of that money go into consulting for permitting for prescribed fire with Caltrans?
So we're not doing any prescribed fire on the south side of the road. That's a shaded fuel break, but that's an excellent question because Caltrans wants us to do an archaeological review, which would cost a bit of money, but I'm pushing back on that. So yeah, it's a process, which takes staff time. So there's that.
Could this funding be used for prescribed fire there next year? If the permitting and archaeological work is done?
Well, again, so all the prescribed fires on the north side of 128, which is, as you know, Bobcat Ranch, and that is something that Cal Fire is working on, and we're, the after fire season, there's going to be meetings with Caltrans. So there's probably no funding needed for that from this pot of money, because Cal Fire has an archaeologist, Caltrans has archaeologists. So yeah, I don't think our funding can support the prescribed burn along that stretch of road.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, it's a mess. But anyway, the Delta Camp crews are rolling along, and they're not hitting the budget very hard. So, and as I'm looking at this, I was thinking about this when I sent this off, is that I can rework this spreadsheet so that we can track project spending better, so you guys have a better idea. Like right now, I've just been kind of throwing in different font colors for updates, and I don't think that unless you guys like it the way it is, I'm happy to change it up so it makes more sense.
It's hard to decline something that is billed as increasing cents.
Thanks, Kate Laddish.
Would it make more sense to you? I guess is also the question. Like, would it help you track it as well as help us track it?
It makes sense to me because I have a different, but we've got, yeah, it does make sense to me, but I want to be able to explain this more clearly with less confusion. And I feel like at the outset, before things were going, this was a perfectly fine report, but it may need clarification as things get more complicated.
I mean, are you thinking the sort of thing like just using the Winters Area Creekside fuel reduction as an example, that say where it says at the beginning the 85,000, but if basically if we change the totals, would it just have a note in there somewhere? It's like, it was this, we moved it here because of XYZ.
Yeah, we could have 2 columns like budgeted amount, move to this other
amended.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that sounds great, because that way we'd be able to go back and essentially recreate it if we have to say, here's what we thought we were going to do. Here's what we actually did.
I was going to say, and I'm trying to tread carefully because the Rumsey project is obviously like up in my district. But
go for it, Jesse.
But yeah, it might be helpful for everybody if people are concerned about exactly how this is going to work out. If we had something that said West Winters, Highway 128, 75 grand ingress and egress around Golden Bear or other Winters projects or whatever, 75 grand, and then get rid of the Creekside fuel thing and just say like Arundo 10 grand and 75 to the Rumsey, I mean, like whatever, just so that we're not like staring at one thing, but trying to imagine that it says something totally different.
I think that's a good idea, and also goes with my, yeah. This is getting outdated because it doesn't work as things move and happen, and realistic numbers versus estimates.
And that was in a bowl for you there, and your salad on the other.
Carol, I didn't catch that. Would you mind saying that again?
But yeah, that makes sense.
And if we do say remove a project from the spreadsheet, if there can be a mothballed version, just so that then, if for example, I say, wait, where was the Winters Area Creekside? Yeah. Okay.
There's
cool.
so many mothballed versions.
Great.
Yeah, there's a lot of mothballed versions.
Just so that if I have to answer a question about what's going on, I can recreate it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But Tanya, I really appreciate you keeping track of all of that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have it be transparent and also understandable. And don't also remember, we haven't made a big dent in the 800,000, and then we do, the ball is getting rolling on projects finally after figuring out permits and stuff, getting contractors. But we do have some more incoming for more implementation projects. So you may want to table this until we have a dollar amount for the Rumsey shaded fuel break along the ditch. And I also may be able to get a dollar amount for the possible burn. The landowner may or may not be into it. So lots of things up in the air and new information coming in every day.
Are you looking for do we need a motion to table, or?
That's up to our chair.
Justin, or?
I'm thinking back to Robert's rules and I can't bring it. So the best way would be to do it. That might be excessive. But at least some way to poll for the consensus of the group. Looking for, actually to that point, I'll bring the question to the group to Do we wish to table the discussion until the next meeting when trying to think how to summarize that.
Yep.
When an updated transfer or a file accounting for transfers of funds from projects would be available for review, or do we want to go ahead? So that is the question. Do we wish to table this, or do we wish to have further discussion?
I'd move to table it per your description.
Okay.
Could I just ask, will this hold up the possibility of funding either of the projects we're talking about, or is this just all paperwork that we're looking at behind?
I don't think it'll hold anything up. I mean, we have the money to do the project. We just want to be transparent about, so I underestimated what it would cost to do a shaded fuel break. So we'd like to move some around.
Got it. I will second. I'd second the motion then.
Well, that's okay. Any other discussion? Questions?
I guess the only thing would be if Tanya, if somehow in the next month we really need to move forward with this, with moving money around, I guess you and Jonathan can rally the troops and we do a special meeting or something like that if you need a vote. But if you don't see it as something that's going to suddenly leap forward, then
right. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be held up because it's one pot of money, but dividing it up is kind of up to this body, and the numbers, I don't want to say arbitrary. They were a fairly educated guess on the amount a project would cost, but
it's
that, yeah.
Yeah, we're reallocating based on more information is what we're doing, and accounting
Correct.
for that fairly.
Yeah. Very well put. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So the motion is to table. I'm going to call the question if there's no other discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay, questions tabled until we have the updated review document for the next meeting. So we're on to regular reports.
Forthcoming.
Yeah. So
yes, regular reports. Okay, I saw Chief Close here from CAL FIRE. Are you available at this moment to give an update?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Not much from CAL FIRE. Obviously, it's been a pretty busy year. We were gone for a long time, the whole unit. It's tapered off a lot in the North State. We still have dry fuels. We have low humidity forecasted this week without the winds that we had most of the summer. So it's looking okay. It got pretty busy down in the south and most of the unit went down there. But as of right now, we are at full staffing in the Snow Lake Napa unit. That puts us at 31 engines, 6 dozers, 6 crews, 3 helicopters, 2 air tankers, and air attack. So we're looking really good right now. That's about it as far as a report from CAL FIRE. Any questions?
Thank you.
I'll ask a question. Any sense when prescribed fires can start happening again in the unit? What month we should be thinking about?
Yeah, you can apply now for a burn permit, and it's case by case. On the coastline, we've started approving some burns because they have the window right now. I kind of anticipate the end of fire season coming abruptly, just like the beginning of fire season did. So we may end up with a short window when the grass is available. If you have plans, start the process. Feel free to give me a call. And I'm hoping that the next month and the following month, we're doing some burning for sure.
Excellent. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions for our battalion chief? All right. Thank you very much. Let's hope it just cruise on into the rainy season. Our next report is Christopher's here from the Yolo County Office of Emergency Services.
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is Chris Estrada with Yolo OES. So just one update. So this week on Monday, we did launch our new emergency notification system called Alert Yolo. Most of you should have received either a text, email, or phone call last week, just reminding you to hit 1 if you want to continue in the alert system, or no if you want to get off of it. If you hit 1, your information will roll over into the new system. But if you had a profile created with a username and a password, that will not be transferred over. So we encourage everyone, yourself, family, friends, community members, to go ahead and sign up for that new system that we have. And you go ahead and go on our website under the alerts tab, and there should be a blue link kind of just giving you more information about the system, and it's an easier process to sign up as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our office. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Any questions on that? It's been well publicized, so that I've seen that announcement all over the place. So that is great. Okay, we're on to RCD reports. So you've seen my confusing coordinator report, which will look a lot better next time. I wanted to point out a few things. There's also, Chrissy forgot to mention, the Yolo County Ag Commissioner's Office is planning a training for Ag Pass applicants on October 23rd.
Oh yeah.
So
I forgot to mention that. So the Ag Commissioner's Office is going to be hosting the first training for that. I'm not too sure of any additional information. I know they're sharing it out to the residents up in the fire-prone area. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to their office, and they'll be happy to provide more information regarding the Ag Pass.
Okay, so we're hoping for more information soon from them.
Okay. Chris, is it okay if I jump in with a quick question for you?
Yep.
Yeah. With my enthusiasm about Genesis and all of that, so I've downloaded that app. It 3 times it's given me an alert that there's an advisory for my area, but then, in the preview, and then if I go into the actual app, it basically says, "What are you talking about? It's all fine." Is that something? Should I email you and Kristen about that, or?
If you mind, send us a screenshot just to see. It might be because we're training a lot of the users right now, and when we train the people, there's like a train mode, but it'll still publicize. For some reason, it'll still publicize on the public-facing side of the app, which is kind of a little bit annoying, but that might be why you might be receiving those notifications, even though when you go into the map itself, and it looks all clear to go. That's one thing I could think of, but yes, if you can, send us a screenshot just to make sure on that as well.
Great. Yeah, no, that sounds great. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so the things that have been happening on the ground, we got 3 scopes of work for the Rumsey ditch, so we're reviewing those, and we'll have a contractor selected probably by the end of this week. And they, per our permit, they need to be done with the work by November 30th. So that will be happening. And then I'm in the process of getting an encroachment permit to do a little bit of fuels work along Highway 16 at the mouth of Rumsey Canyon. So again, that's through Caltrans. Other things that are happening along State Highway 128, we had 1 work day with the Delta crew on September 17th, and then they went down south. And now they're all back, and we're going to have a work day on Friday. And then we have 3 days scheduled to continue working along 128 in October. And it's like they are doing such hard work. It's on a steep bank. They're cutting down dead trees. It's really impressive. And so we'll be out there on Friday if you want to go for a drive, but you can't stop, but you can wave. And that is mostly, and the Knox box locks are in the hands of Chief Lawrence at Esparto Fire Department. So he's coordinating that with the West Side Fire Chiefs. And the tags are being printed for the evacuation signs, and education and information is forthcoming. So that is my coordinator permit. And Leanne, you have a question? I'm going to stop sharing. Leanne, do you have your hand up? We'll just keep moving along. So you guys remember we sent a letter to Caltrans, and I got a response. Actually, everybody got a response. And it was very obvious that they are not reading their own paperwork. So, and I can send this out to folks, but they addressed it to Jonathan because he signed it. I don't want to read all this to you, but the interesting part of all this, they want to have a pre-application meeting between Caltrans and Cal Fire, which is awesome. But then they said, well, you have an encroachment permit for a mile of work. And then they attached the RCD's encroachment permit for the work that we're doing with Delta Crew, which is a shaded field break. And we were protesting the fact that they stopped Cal Fire from doing their prescribed burn. So this is the encroachment permit that we had done back a long time ago. So they are willing to meet with us. I have had a few emails. I talked to Chief Watson about doing an meeting for the shaded field break, which is chainsaws and hand crews on the south side of the creek, having that be one meeting, and then another meeting with Cal Fire for the prescribed burn on the north side of the highway. There's just so much confusion, and it's really hard to get all these people in this giant bureaucracy to understand what's happening. So just wanted to update you. We did get a response. Everybody got copied on the email, including the fire chiefs that we had sent it to. Caltrans staff, and Jonathan got a hard copy, and I got an email. Does that all make sense, or did it just be more confusing? Because it's kind of a mess.
Yeah. Someone who read that, or I read the letter, it was pretty apparent that they didn't realize they were talking about two different things.
Yeah.
And they really don't know what their right hand is doing, their left hand is doing. Yeah. Yeah. Which was the purpose of the letter of concern. So but hopefully meetings will help before we have to send more letters to maybe somebody who can help them understand what the right hand is doing and the left hand.
The good news is we got a response, and they want to meet, and we're moving up the chain. So did anyone from the West Winters Fire Safe Council send letters to your elected officials? I think Ken.
Tanya, that was a point of order during our last meeting. I think we voted on it, but I forget what the consensus was.
Well, he voted to send the letter, and I did. So then we just got a more confusing response.
Also, Tanya, if the issue continues, Senator Doss' office doesn't. We've interjected before with Caltrans, and we put it in their face that hey, here's a letter. Obviously, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're confused. And it's not uncommon for us to have meetings with the Caltrans director to tell them that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. And that's an easy move for us.
That would be great, because just to try to get them to understand the project, it's 2 projects. They both protect communities. One's being led by the RCD, the other's being led by CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE and the RCD are communicating and working together, but they're very different projects. Same highway.
Yeah. Just let me know when you want the senator to get involved, then I'll have you write just a synopsis and what you're specifically asking, and the senator just makes a direct phone call to Caltrans director, and it gets resolved.
Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. And thank you, Senator Dodd, for being responsive to constituents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's really great.
And this is Tracy. Perhaps before we take that step, we might elevate it to the Caltrans State Veg person. I just emailed you guys about it. So let's start there. And then I think if that doesn't work, then Ron, that's a great idea.
Tanya, I appreciate your due diligence on this. Since the majority of the project on the north side of the road will be conducted on Bobcat Ranch, can I be a part of the pre-application meetings with Caltrans and CAL FIRE?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Tracy, yes, it looks like we've got a higher person who will meet with us in permitting. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, moving on. In terms of grant updates, Kate Reza, our amazing grant writer, would like everyone to know, especially from fire departments, that she can help you write grants. There's a few grants to purchase items, so you could have a shopping trip. Just reach out to me if you want to learn more about that. It would be a shame to not follow up on that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Allie for the more fun stuff.
Great, thanks, Tanya. A quick Yolo PBA update. So we had a couple of trainings, a 3-part training series that started in September. And we're hosting a broadcast burn at the same property where our in-person field day was, which is right outside of Esparto. That is not confirmed just yet on what day. We're hoping like mid-November. It's a small burn. It's only 4.5 acres. So it'll be a limited amount of participants allowed, just because, it won't be conducive to having a large group of people there. So yeah, we'll be sending out information to our mailing lists for the Fire Safe Council and the PBA, and then, posting on social media to let you know when that sign up is available. So be on the lookout for that. And then as for Fire Safe Council program updates, the address sign program is still moving along. We got a couple of requests this month, and then we're going to be doing more outreach for the address sign program and the evacuation tag stuff. That'll go out for press releases and social media stuff. And then the chipper program, we have a chipper day tentatively scheduled for October 18th. We have 4 properties on the list right now, so we're looking to add maybe like 2 or 3 more. So share that with your neighbors and let them know that that's available. It's good prep for obviously the end of fire season and then going into the stormy, rainy months. And then just some general outreach updates. Our highway signs are coming along. We've picked up the smaller highway ignition signs that are printed in English and Spanish. We picked those up a couple weeks ago, I think, and so they just need to be installed. We're trying to price out some posts, which are surprisingly expensive. So we're hoping to get those in the ground soon. We have locations determined for those signs. Those are the ones that are going along the pullouts that just warn people of possible ignition sources for wildfire. And then the larger highway signs, I've heard from our fabricator that they've been printed. We're just waiting for the posts. They had to special order some. And so we're waiting on that, and we're hoping to pick those up on this Friday actually, or maybe sometime early next week, if those posts are in. And we still need to nail down some locations for the larger highway signs, but that's still in progress. And then just some general outreach update stuff. I'm working on a defensible space video project with a local video production company. And so wrote a little script for it. We're working on that, and then we're going to be filming up in the Cape Valley and possibly in the Winters area if anyone is interested in hosting us out there. And we're aiming for the video to be in English and available in Spanish as well. And then other than that, I'm working on some news, like general newsletters, community mailers, and then just the normal social media outreach and all of that. So, Moira, do you have a question?
I do. You mentioned the chipping day is tentative. Is that based on weather alone or anything else?
Yeah, just weather, just like if the crew is available, they have it on their calendars. But if anything, random comes up that they have to cancel. But it's looking like it'll be most likely on that Friday, October 18th.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Allie, you did some awesome flyers for Sivera and the deal that we're doing on October 12th. I was just wondering if your flyer wizardry could possibly extend to helping out with recruitment materials for any of the fire departments.
Yeah,
If that's
definitely.
your scope. Okay, cool. I'll give you a holler.
Cool. Kate?
That's so cool that you're going to make some videos, and I'm really glad that they're going to be in English and Spanish. And I just wanted to put a plug in for also just for accessibility within the videos. And so say if there's closed captioning or if there's some of the descriptive text or there are different techniques where if somebody is describing something or pointing at something, that rather than just pointing that you actually describe what you're doing, that sort of thing. And so then it'd be able to reach more people, including people who just aren't able to see it or hear it or process it different ways.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're new to this. The video production company we're using, they're super professional and they make like documentaries and lots of stuff. So I'll keep that in mind. We're trying to keep it short too, so that it's not like this long video that folks click off of really quickly. So yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. And I imagine that we'll probably have some screenings for folks that are, on the Fire Safe Council to give some feedback on it and let us know if we need to make some changes or anything like that. So I'll let you know.
I think it's a great idea. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments or anything about outreach stuff? Okay, Tanya.
All right. Well, having good outreach makes a world of difference. Thank you. Solano RCD. Besides plant sales, what other awesome things are you guys up to?
I am on from Solano. I don't know if Chris is still on. Yep, there he is. Hi folks, Karen Young, Solano RCD. We, as Chris mentioned earlier, yes, our plant sale is coming up. Join us for fun plants on Saturday, November 9th. And Allie mentioned that the prescribed fire training series wrapped up. We had our last field day in Solano County this past Saturday on September 21st down in Pleasance Valley. So thank you to everybody who attended. We're gonna be following up to everybody who participated in that series with additional resources and ways to get involved with prescribed fire throughout the 3-county area that did that training. We are moving forward with a Quail Canyon grazed buffer that is funded under the CAL FIRE planning grant that we are subcontracted to Yolo County RCD on. So that will provide some measure of protection along the western side of Quail Canyon and hopefully maybe help stop or slow down some things that are headed north into Yolo. Last piece that is relevant for anybody who is eligible for Natural Resource Conservation Service cost share programs. There is a regional conservation partnership program funding pot of cost share funding that both Solano and Yolo County are eligible for. And our partners at NRCS just announced the next application deadline. So these are projects where landowners work with NRCS planners to put together a project application that gets ranked against everything else that was submitted during that time period. And then projects that are selected get into contract. Landowners arrange for the work to be done or do it themselves and then get reimbursed at a set rate per acre. And that is a rate set by NRCS. It's not full reimbursement, but it is at least partial. And this particular program has a specific focus on fuel reduction. So there's a lot of monitoring before and after the project to demonstrate the change in fire behavior, the predicted change in fire behavior as a result of the work. The next application deadline is coming up on November 8th. So if there are any landowners who would be interested in this, you do need to have agricultural income and be registered with the Farm Services Agency, but reach out to RCD and NRCS and can help get you moved in with that.
Thank you. Whew, I know that all of a sudden they have a deadline.
It's thrilling. There had been no deadline and now there is, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
Nice to have that.
Cool. Okay, let's
anything else to add from Solano?
Okay. Community Fire Safe Council reports in alphabetical order. Cape Valley.
I don't have much to report, but I want to second Fire Chief Jesse's invitation to join us on October 12th. That'll be the public's opportunity to actually check out all the wonderful equipment and our trailer, etc., that we purchased with our CAL FIRE grant. It is ready to be shown off. You'll be able to actually walk inside of it and outside the other door, and it's really, really awesome. Every time I look at it, I'm like, yes, we're set for the next 10, 15 years. This is awesome. So come on out and join us.
Yeah, fun. Thank you. Sherry from Napa is not here. And I don't think there's anybody here from Pleasant Valley Fire Safe Council. Oh, Leanne is here. Leanne, do you have a report from PVFSC?
Well, there's not much to report, just the same as last time. We did receive a $15,000 grant. Yay. And we need to get started on that. It is for fuels reduction and for the first 5 feet around any older homes and elderly people that might need help. Of course, most of the homes, 309 homes burned in Pleasants Valley. So they're all being replaced, so that won't help. I do have a question for you, though, Tanya, about Delta Camp. And maybe you could email me or call me later with the information, but I'm real curious to maybe engage them in some fuel reduction work in Pleasants Valley.
Yeah, you have to be a sponsor. But
okay.
Yeah.
And what does that entail?
Well, filling out some forms. It was so long ago, I can't remember what we did. But yeah, I'll get more information from you on that.
Okay. And then also I had a question about your Knox boxes. So that would be something beneficial out in Pleasants Valley. And I'm wondering what that costs and where was your funding source for it?
That funding source was our early action funds that we were talking about earlier. And that was a project that we added. and it was coordinated by the Sparto Fire Department. So that's probably something that you should go through your Vacaville Fire Department to do.
Okay.
And maybe one of the fire chiefs will know more about this, because I think you have to register, because the keys it's a security thing.
Right.
It's kind of complicated, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. And Tracy, do you have any intel on that?
I was just going to say that I think PG&E might be into supporting funding beacon boxes as well. That's another new one that LNU's been interested in getting around the county, around the region.
And can you explain what a beacon box is?
Beacon box is like a Knox box. It doesn't actually have keys in it, but it has maps and data, all this kind of stuff. And so I know that Napa Firewise and LNU, I don't know how many we've gotten funded so far over there, but we've been putting them around Berryessa and such, other places. But PG&E.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Welcome.
And for the prices, you can just Google Knox boxes, and there's, you can buy one for $5,000 or $250. It's everything in between. For our project, we mostly got locks with special keys that will go out to all the fire departments on the west side.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Wes Winters.
Hi, everyone. Not too much to report. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our last meeting, but we will be having a meeting on Tuesday, October 8th at the Winters Fire Department, if anyone would like to join at 6:30. So we're just continuing with our projects. The Firewise community is marching along. We still need to get together and do our assessments. We are continuing to put together a brochure to inform people about who we are and what we do. And then let's see what else. A couple weeks ago, Neil Van Alphen and I met, and we actually tried to. We were mapping out the exit routes from Golden Bear. And so it was a very successful trip, and it was really good to actually figure out that some of what we thought might be exit routes really aren't feasible. And so Neil sent out an email to Golden Bear community today, and where we described how to get out, and we had a map and some pictures. So that's pretty much it, unless Neil, I think you're still on, maybe Ken, if you guys have anything to add.
No, it was great report.
Can you send me the map?
Of course, yeah, we can send it to you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Does anyone have anything else to add to our reports? 5:01. I'm assuming you would like to have a meeting next month.
Well, especially since we tabled the
Oh
funds.
boy.
So it looks like we'll have a meeting on October 23rd. And and hopefully we don't have to schedule it earlier. But on that note, a motion and a second to end this meeting.
I'll move.
All right, got Kate and
I second.
And Jesse. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are you still here? Nay. All right. See you on October 23rd.